Retromaniac Game Review, Retromaniac Game Review, Retromaniac Game Review, living off nostalgia, retro power.
Cowabunga, Turtle fans. Boy, was I not ready for this. I was about 90% done with a brand new speculation video when TributeGames.emu dropped a bomb of a trailer on us, and I couldn't be happier. Take a look. Okay, that was pretty nuts. Let's break this down a little. It looks like the new mode in Dimensional Shellshock is in fact survival mode. On the .emu website, they give a summary. Get your pizza order in and get ready to shred between dimensions in the brand new survival mode for TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Collect crystals, upgrade your character, and mutate into your greatest foes to brawl from dimension to dimension, each with its own unique look and feel. Unlock additional lives, ninja power bars, radical mode, and extra hit points so that nothing stands between you and Shredder's latest plan. Here's more about survival mode from PlayStation Underground.
This is sort of our first real extended look at the new survival mode. Can you tell us a little bit about what makes this mode unique for Shredder's Revenge?
Yeah, so the survival mode for Dimension Shellshock is basically a completely different game mode. And in this mode, the players are traveling across the multiverse from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in order to assemble and collect dimensional crystals that have been stolen by a mysterious figure.
Ooh.
So I think this last statement pretty much confirms that we'll get at least one new character as a boss within this survival mode. And since we're dealing with collecting crystals, I have a strong feeling I think I know who it is. But we'll save that information for when we get to my speculation part of the video. I think now's a good time to try to identify all the crazy characters we see within the backgrounds. Okay, so we got Pizza Face, Hothead. From the Archie comics we have Nevermore, Nocturo, and Pookie. Also from the Archie comics we have Cuddly the Cowlick. And from the original cartoon episode Planet of the Turtleoids, Kerma, riding a giant metalhead? And in the background of this space station area, it looks like Fugitoid is being chased by Armagon. The developer had some pretty interesting stuff to say during this part of the video.
The first arcade game was kind of very faithful to the show, but then the second arcade game, Turtles in Time, was basically just Turtles having fun. It was just a wild ride through time travel and such. And this is kind of how we wanted to approach a DLC. We wanted it to be something that would feel like almost like a sequel, but that would go further than what we previously saw in the game. And that's why we really wanted to go with the multiverse and explore all of these new locations, which is also an excuse for more cameos and little Easter eggs. But yeah, I think it's a good refreshing experience for sure from the main game.
Okay, so now let's talk about the part of this trailer that got me the most excited, and probably a lot of you. Playable bosses, baby. We're talking Rocksteady and Bebop, which is one of my personal favorite characters. I even dressed up like him for Halloween one year. But of course, for most of us, it's being able to play as Shredder. Dude, this is so awesome. I cannot wait. Though I am a little bit sad that a version of Shredder probably won't be playable in the base game. More on that in a bit. It looks like the playable bosses in this game will only be for survival mode and only for a limited time. They have a small life bar, and once it depletes, you revert back to whatever character you originally chose. TributeGames.emu, hats off. You guys are killing it with this awesome DLC. Okay, so now we've reached the speculation part of this video. Please note that all of these following ideas I had pretty much already created before this new trailer even dropped. It's that time again, time for some wild speculation about the upcoming Shredder's Revenge DLC, Dimension Shellshock. I've been reading a crap ton of Archie's Turtles Adventure comics in preparation of what we might see as playable characters, background characters, or possible bosses. While we're kind of on the subject of seeing background characters, I'd like to address something from my last video. Some of you were kind of sad to see Rex 1 sitting out in the junk pile. So I thought it'd be fun to have Rex as a fully operational background character cheering you on while you fight. I also decided to update the Foot Cruiser, and next to the failed experiment in the tube, I added this guy from the Archie comics. Now that I think about it, having background characters cheer you on while you fight reminds me of a game that would be great for a brand new dimensional DLC area that you can warp to. I'm a huge fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters on the SNES. I really enjoyed its unique roster of characters, some of whom had never appeared in the original 1987 cartoon. I always kind of wondered, where did these characters come from? And I never really knew until recently when I was reading, you guessed it, the Archie comics. In fact, besides Chrome Dome, the only other character that doesn't appear in the comics is Asuka. And technically Karai, although she does appear in the early black and white Mirage comics. But Asuka is so badass in the game that if any character from Tournament Fighters were to make it as a DLC playable character, it would have to be her. As far as a boss encounter for this dimension, most of Tournament Fighters' roster is already bosses in Shredder's Revenge. So sticking to the characters that aren't already bosses, the first boss you'll have to face is the aquatic alien bounty hunter, Armagon. The next boss encounter is an alien mutant hybrid and one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, War. So let's see, if you take an idea from one of my earlier speculation videos and make Karai a playable character, then you could add another new mode to the DLC called Tournament Fighters mode. It could be a challenging boss rush mode where you would get a limited amount of lives and have to defeat in a row Wingnut, Chrome Dome, Rat King, Shredder, Armagon, and War. And with the inclusion of Asuka and Karai as playable characters, the entire roster from this SNES classic would be here. You could even throw in Hothead from the NES version of Tournament Fighters as a boss. Adding the Genesis roster would also make Krang, Triceraton, that Bug Fang, and Ray Fillet bosses. However, I think Ray Fillet deserves to be a playable character. Nevertheless, a brand new DLC area paying some sort of homage to Tournament Fighters would be well welcomed, even if they're just background characters. So what exactly does the Dimension Shellshock DLC intend? We already know that the Archie comics are a huge inspiration for multiple areas in the DLC. Not to mention the first playable character, Usagi Ojembo, who originates from his own series. Are dimensional portals the developers' way of starting their own Turtleverse? What other, if any, versions of the Turtles might show up, or other characters from those specific stories? Taking inspiration from the 2009 Turtles Forever movie, my next idea for a dimensional era you warp to is the root source for everything Turtles. That's right, the original black and white Mirage Comics Eastman and Lard's New York City, where we'll find the next playable character, Oroku Saki himself, the Shredder. Here on these dark and gritty rooftops, the Shredder faces off against his mortal enemies, those wretched reptiles. At last, it looks like Shredder will finally get his revenge. So this would be a really cool way to get Shredder in the game as a playable character. Before the Dimensional DLC, I would have thought it impossible to have him as a playable character, let alone any boss character. But now that we're dealing with alternate dimensions, it makes sense that multiple Shredders could appear in the base game. There's so many different variations of the Turtles to pull possible DLC ideas from, especially when dealing with the entire pantheon of the Ninja Turtle multiverse. But before we all dive headfirst down the rabbit hole towards some really crazy speculation, I'd like to talk about an idea based upon the last few seasons of the original cartoon. This era of the cartoon was known by Turtle fans as the Red Sky era, and in all honesty, it kind of feels like a separate dimension on its own. I'm pretty sure these darker tonal changes to the show was trying to cash in on the popularity of the Batman animated TV series going on around the same time. This brings us to my idea for a playable character for this new area. That's right, it's Batman. Nah, I'm just kidding, it's not Batman. However, Batman has teamed up with the Turtles before. The actual character I have in mind was a character introduced specifically for these Red Sky seasons. It's the 5th ninja member of the team, Carter. I actually think Carter would be pretty badass as a playable character. He could have his normal ninjutsu fighting moves, and then each one of his specials would temporarily turn him into his mutant form for that attack. He could even have his level 3 radical move permanently turn him into his mutant form for that duration. I also think one of his dash attack moves should be where he hops on his motorcycle real quick and drives forward. Is that Carter on the cover of this old Mirage comic? And although it'd be a lot of work to put in the game, I think if you played in this Red Sky City area as a turtle and used your radical super, then you would mutate into your unstable mutation form for the duration. Among the waves of enemies you'll be fighting in this new area is a brand new alien insectoid soldiers that flutter around as they fight you and sometimes pull out energy weapons to shoot you. After defeating the final wave of enemies, a creepy gothic citadel is revealed. Above the looming gargoyle statues, behind the stained glass, a shadow can be seen. Just then, lightning strikes and the glass shatters to reveal the boss of this level. It's Lord Dreg. Lord Dreg would be the perfect final boss for this DLC. And now that we know that the survival mode is about collecting crystals, I think it makes sense that Lord Dreg is that boss. After all, collecting crystals is a huge part of his storyline in the cartoon. Okay, so as I wrap this video up, I just wanted to ask you guys, do you guys think that survival mode is the only mode that we'll be getting in the DLC, or is there other surprises waiting for us? Do you guys think more playable characters will be coming to the base game, or is the playable bosses the other characters mentioned in the original trailer? Did you take the red pill? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and a very special shout out to Kai. Thanks for watching, my dude, and stay tuned for that really crazy speculation in a future video. Bye for now.